start. Okay, hi again. There's one question from Sirsa Guha. How many marks should I get in GATE so that I can expect to get admission in IITs? So, like I said, the pattern changes every year and it's different for different streams. Uh, Having a look at last year's scores would give you a good idea. But I would say anything for CS at least anything above 60 is good enough to get into an IIT. So, to be honest, now is not the time to speculate your marks. Just focus on your own preparations and just give your GATE exam to get the best score that you can get, and we'll think about admissions later on. Pooja has a question. I'm quite familiar with the topics, but I need to revise all concepts. I'm thinking of solving question papers in the last 7 days. What would you suggest? That's a very good thought that you have. Solving those question papers, like I have mentioned a lot of times, while solving those question papers, try to set up an environment similar to the actual GATE exam. Sit there for complete 3 hours. How would you go on about attempting your GATE exam? And while you are solving those papers one by one, try to plan in a strategy, devise a strategy on how would you go about giving your actual GATE exam. So, for example, I'm a CA student. I know that okay, I am quite familiar with I would say theory of computation or compilers and algorithms. These are my strong topics. Computer networks, software engineering are not. So I actually learned this while I was solving these question papers. I could get the questions from TOC or compilers very easily, and questions from networks, software engineering, computer organization, for me at least, were not easy to solve. And this is all subjective. It depends on your own understanding of the subjects. So while solving these question papers, you get an idea about your strong points, and then after that, you can during the actual GATE exam, you know, okay, this topic is my strong point. I'll solve all the questions from this topic first, and then after that, whatever time is remaining, I'll try to solve the questions that from the topics that I'm not comfortable with. So this would be a good strategy according to me, and of course everyone has their own idea of writing an exam. You can plan your own strategy during these last 7-10 days, which you can learn, which you can effectively devise while by solving question papers, last year question papers, GATE forum provided test series material, whatever questions you have at your hand. Is it necessary to do all the subjects? What if I leave the mathematics part? Like I said, I did skip a couple of subjects, and I don't know if I was lucky or not, but there was only 2 questions asked from computer networks in my paper, and one of them I was already familiar with. So it depends on you. I would say do not leave the subject entirely. Just focus on some basic concepts that you can have. For example, mathematics, you can just try to look at the formulas related to probability or some differentiation formulas. Those kind of things you can have. So that even if a question is asked from mathematics, say in your case for say, so you can answer that question if it's very basic question from that subject, which most of the 1 mark questions are, you'll be able to answer that question as well. So it's the key, I would say. Don't leave the subject entirely. Just read a little bit about the formulas that are there in the subject. So you don't have to be an expert in mathematics to solve GATE paper. The GATE questions are very basic. Just a basic understanding of the formula would you'll be able to solve the questions easily. Okay, I hope that helps. Shrikant Kashyap has a question about what kind of questions should I expect, like deep conceptual, highly analytical, or numerical analysis. Okay, for 1 mark question, for 1 mark technical questions, you should be able to solve. You should be able to solve those questions with a single concept or formula. You can have direct application of that concept. 2 mark question would require a little bit more thinking, combining probably a couple or more concepts. But then all these are very basic concepts that you need to learn about while when you go on about attempting these. So understanding of all concepts and formulas in a very basic and trivial form should help you solve these questions very easily. They are not very conceptual, deeply conceptual as per se. You just need the basic understanding of the formulas and concepts. So not about it won't be about asking anything new or something that you haven't learned already. It'll just test your knowledge of existing formulas and concepts. Are IIT Bangalore question papers more complicated than other IITs? No, not at all. No one IIT or IIT sets a paper every year. The papers are collected from all the IITs. This is my understanding about how a question paper is set. The question papers are collected from all IITs and ISCs, and the questions are collected from all IITs and ISCs. Some questions are selected from the question bank that's there, and depending on your session that you're giving the exam, you might get easy per se or difficult questions. But then IIT Bangalore setting the question paper, or IIT Bombay, or IIT Kanpur, or IIT Kharagpur wouldn't have a lot of effect on how difficult the question paper is. Ananya Bose has a question: which subject should I concentrate more this year? From where should I practice aptitude? If I do 5 subjects like TOC, compilers, what marks? How much priority should I give to aptitude? First, I'll answer the last question. How much priority should I give to aptitude? Aptitude is like giving 1 or 2 hours every day from now on should easily get you through the aptitude questions, solving basic questions from any standard aptitude book available, or even the Gate Forum material has a book on aptitude. Solving those questions should be good enough. A couple of hours daily from now on should easily get you through you will be easily able to solve the aptitude questions if you are able to attempt these questions for 2 hours from daily. And like I said, selecting a subset of subjects that you have and then asking and thinking about how many marks these subjects can get me, it's very difficult to speculate. It's very, very difficult. You never know that, for example, this particular year, there might not be any question from OS. OS is a very important subject for computer science, but then there might not be. It depends on how the paper is set. And so instead of speculating how many subjects you should study and how many marks will these subjects get you, I would say that, okay, if you know that you have done these 5 subjects, just focus more on getting every single mark possible from these 5 subjects, and remaining subjects you should at least give a cursory look and try to understand the formulas maybe and attempt those questions as well. So this is not the time to think about how many marks you are gonna get in the exam. Just think about how much preparation you can get done in last 15 days, and once you are done with the exam, you will have time to calculate your marks and ranks. And so Yadav Javiel has a question. I am attempting SAT, I am getting good marks, but for monitor tests it's around 30 I am getting. Any tip for that? Probably there's one, this is a thing that a lot of guys do while they are solving self-administered tests. They tend to look for a formula. Okay, I know this formula, this is just a formula that I need to look, and during the exam they look at those papers. This is not the right way of giving a self-administered test, I would say. There's, in my opinion, there should not be any difference in a monitored test or a self-administered test. The environment should be same. You should have only the material allowed with you during those 3 hours. Even during a SAT or monitor test, you won't have that. So those 3 hours should be like a monitor test, and you should be able to solve the question paper in 3 hours without any external help, and then check about how well you are performing in which topic, and then select a good topic. Or how to tackle English. English is definitely a difficult part of gate paper. You have, but then I would say do not concentrate too much on English. It's just a couple of questions, and if you already know the answer, it will be good. Otherwise, do not focus too much on English. Just go on about learning the technical and quantitative part as per se. Is gate forum material enough for these last minute preparation? Yes, gate forum material is it's complete in all sense. So just looking at the concepts in the if you're looking at a concept, you'll find the questions related to that concepts in the nearby section only, and you can solve those questions. And gate forum material is good enough. For aptitude, they have a very good collection of questions. For all other subjects, I would say that once you learn the formula, the gate forum material has a lot of related question to that formula, and you'll be easily you can easily understand the formula based on this material that you have with you. So yeah, stick to gate forum material and this should get you through. Malabika San has a question. I have 3 important subjects which seem difficult to me. Again, in those subjects which I am prepared for, some topics I am not able to solve. What should I do? Should I start new subject? Like I said, starting new subject from scratch at this point of time would not be a good idea. You should actually look at just brushing through or give a cursory look to the subjects which you have not prepared for, and there are no important or less important subjects as per from the point of view of GATE as such. So it's possible that from the topics that you have covered, the questions that are asked during this year are from the topics you have covered. So it's still not too late. I would say just focus on whatever topics and subjects you have covered and try to score as many marks as possible from those topics. And then if you still have some time left, just try to give a cursory look to the remaining subjects, and if some basic questions are asked from that subject, you should be able to answer those. What is the cutoff marks for CS students to get into IITs? The stats changes every year, and there is no fixed rule as such about the number of marks that you should get. The normalization also plays a role over here, since the exam is conducted in multiple sessions for CS. So it's possible that one session is difficult compared to the other. They normalize the marks, and at one point of time, even if 55 in one particular session is better than 62, 63 in another session. So it's very difficult to say. I would say anything above 60 it should easily get you into an IIT. Anything above 60 is fine. But then this is not a hard cutoff. It might be less, it might be more. It depends on the difficulty level of the paper and the session you are writing your exam from. I am from mechanical. I am getting 50 plus in mock test. How far can I stretch my marks in final exam? From my own experience, whatever marks you get in gate forum test series, the gate forum you'll get around 7 or 8 more marks in the final exam. Gate forum exams are a little bit difficult compared to the actual gate exam. That's my opinion. Again, it might not be the case this year. So if you're getting 50 plus in mock tests, you should be able to get around 60 plus in the actual gate exam. I am not, again, since I'm not from mechanical background, I'm not sure, but you should be able to score 7-8 marks in the final exam. And these 15 days of preparation, you could actually devise a strategy to attempt those questions effectively, so that you can increase your marks further, probably 65 plus, and that would be a great score for, and you'll get all admits. Renuka has a question about how should I prepare in last 2 weeks for exam, as more I should have to focus on my theory or more on numericals. This is a time to practice. Numericals, just solve as many questions as you can. That's it. Numericals this time. This is a time for practice. No need to revise no need to learn any new concepts or theory at this particular point of time. Whatever you have learned, try to solve as many questions as possible from those concepts and topics. That should be it. Shubhanand Tiwari has a question. How to summarize the whole syllabus at the day before the exam? What should be the strategy at that particular day? So see, I'll tell you what I did. Probably you can get some ideas from there. What I did was, I had 12 subjects. So, and a day before the exam, I gave 1 hour for each subject. So that means 12 hours of study on the last day, which is slightly more than what I had been doing. So 1 hour per subject. What I did was I just took a book, standard textbook or Gate Forum book depending on the subject, and just look at the topics. Those topics would have some important formulas marked in between. I just look at the formula, and if you've already covered the topic, it should not be a difficult task. You should be able to cover the entire syllabus. You should be to look at the entire syllabus in 1 hour for every subject. It's definitely possible. So every textbook has a summary page has a summary section at the end. Even the Gate Forum material has a summary kind of section. Just look at the questions, the formulas, and it should be done with the subject in 1 hour. And it's possible, it's quite possible, trust me on that. Pratik has a question, how much accurate should be the answer in case of numerical question? It's mentioned in the instructions, I guess, but mostly it's about 2 or 3 decimal digits. I'm not sure about that. The instruction has a clear, and it might change this year as well. So during my time it was 3, I guess, and it could be 4 or 2 this year. So you'll have to read the instructions very carefully before the exam, and the instructions will have the accuracy that you need. Around how many marks are necessary to enter into ISC, which is preferred between ISC and IIT, and what is the reason for preference? This is a very personal choice. I would say that people have a lot of ideas about what happens in an ISC, what happens in an IIT. There are different perceptions. ISC being a majorly postgraduate college is mostly focused on research. That does not mean that IITs do not focus on research. The research at IIT is similar or at par with ISCs in some cases. So what is the reason for preference? It's a personal choice. I could go to ISC or IIT Bombay. I chose IIT Bombay because a lot of my friends were in IIT Bombay. And that was only, and it's closer to home. That was the only reason. There is no preference as such. From which part of engineering mathematics most of the questions come? There is a change in syllabus of mathematics every year, I would say. So I think probability and permutation combination is one topic from which they have question every year. Basic differentiation, they have questions every year. Integration has been removed as far as I know. I'm not sure, just check the syllabus on that. Numerical analysis is not there this year. So probability and permutation combination is one important topic from engineering mathematics that you should definitely look into. There will be questions from that. Sumuka has a question about, again, self-administrated test. So I would say that those SATs, your SATs, self-administrated tests should be like monitored test. There should not be any difference between a SAT and a monitored test. The 3 hours you don't have access to anything else apart from the material that you have with you, the pen, the stationery that you are allowed during an exam. So those SATs and monitored tests would be the same, I would say. How is the placement in ITs be for MTECs? Do we get a lot of competition from BTech students? These are all numbers. The placement is very good, I would say. A lot of competition from BTech students. No, there are a lot of companies that come to IITs for placement and they need good students. So if you have done good in your subjects, there won't be they do not differentiate between BTech students and an MTech student. You can easily do better than them in a lot of cases, and I've seen students doing better than them. So, and what is the average salary? The stats change every year, and the department, it's better than what you have from other colleges, but I guess this is all information that I can give you probably. The average salary is good enough, I would say. It's good enough to motivate yourself to get into an IIT. Rohan Tondulkar, approx how many papers practice is ideal, and since it is set by ISC this year, how to prepare for a more difficult expected paper? I have, like I said before, since ISC is setting a paper this year, that does not mean that the paper is going to be difficult. The questions are collected from all the IITs, and they select a set of questions from those the question bank that they create. So ISC setting the paper this year does not mean that the paper is going to be difficult. Most of the time, the organizing institute is about infrastructure and the logistics that's required for that year. The question paper is a collective responsibility of all the IITs. This is as far as I know. So should not worry about ISC setting the paper, and how many papers practices? Ideally, probably a couple of papers each day would be a good deal, 3 hours each paper, and then after that you have enough time left to analyze those papers to prepare for the next day as well. How to commit less mistakes? Just be focused on your paper during the exam. Do not worry about a lot of things. How many marks am I gonna get? Will I get good enough marks to get into an IIT? What is the competition this year? Do not worry about anything else. Just focus on the paper and just read your questions very carefully. Sometimes you read a different word than what's actually written, and they are asking the maximum, you write the average. So those are the very commonly made mistakes, which can be easily avoided if you read the question carefully and solve it step by step. Do not hurry. There's a lot of time to solve. You'll be able to attempt those questions easily. Sahil has a question about, I want to know if you haven't completed some portion of the total syllabus. So can I complete it now? I would say do not look into learning new things as of now. The 80% of the total syllabus is a good number to start with. So if you have completed 80% of the syllabus and are confident with that, this should get you through gate. And another thing is, from the 20% syllabus that you say that you have not learned, just try to learn the basic formulas that are there, and probably you might get some very basic question, 1 mark question from those topics, and you should be able to answer that in the exam. So I think this is good enough preparation. Do not try to learn new subjects now. Okay, may I know from which IIT you completed your masters? I am currently doing my masters from IIT Bombay, and I took admission in the year 2014. How much marks out of 100 you got? I got around 79 marks after normalization. This is what I remember, and my rank was 3. So that answers your question. Jasmine has a question about common and important questions that appear in discrete mathematics section. Probability is again an important topic from discrete maths that appears every year. Set theory is another. Graph theory is a little bit, I say they might or might not ask a question. So probability and set theory is definitely two good sections that they ask questions from. Saikat Gope, after knowing that numerical ability and verbal ability do not have negative marks, can I dare to touch them all? If they do not have negative marks and you are able to solve them, it's well and good. If do not have negative marks, just give an attempt. Just make sure that your attempt is a little bit, you have given a thought into your attempt. Just do not mark randomly. Just give a little bit thought. If you are confused between two, just mark one of them. Suhas has a question, what would be the cutoff ranks for admissions into IITs generally? Just curious, what was your marks and score? I already answered the question about my marks, 79 out of 100. No, these were normalized marks, and total marks were I guess 81, and score was 1000, my rank was 3. So, and the cutoff ranks changes every year. This year ISC Bangalore had increased its number of seats. So last year when the cutoff rank was about 50 to 53, this year people with rank 90 have gotten admission to ISC. Again with IITs, it's increasingly above, more or less about, for IIT Bombay it's more or less between 80 to 90 cutoff rank for general category. So and it changes every year, so you cannot predict in advance. Kaushik has a question about how many marks are required to achieve a rank below 200. Can't remember all concepts which I learned since last 2 months. Any tips for that? This is because once you learn a concept, try to solve as many questions that you can from related to that concept. So it will give you a very good idea about understanding of that particular concept. So solving more questions should help you with learning those concepts. You'll remember those concepts easily, and a revision a couple of days before the actual exam is should be good enough to remember. Even I had that feeling that okay, I don't remember these things, but when the actual exam came, I was able to recall most of the stuff. So it's not do not panic with this situation that you are not able to remember those concepts. You should be good to go. Manorajan has a question about, have you covered all subjects while preparing GATE? So I would say no. I did skip some part of computer networks and software engineering, and probably I was lucky that less questions were asked or easy questions were asked from those subjects. So it's not necessary that you do cover every subject, but then whatever you cover, you should be whatever subjects you cover and you say that you have covered, you should be confident while answering those questions. So not every subject is necessary. Uh, yeah. So any. So I would say the last 15 days just focus on preparing, solving as many questions as you can, because GATE is all about practice that you have. 15 days of practice would be good enough to solve those questions in time. I have not practiced any problem from any book and GATE paper, but I had attempted all e-GATE lectures, but I don't have proper notes. So what do I do now? What do I do? As 15 days, you still have 15 days. Pooja has a question about that she has not attempted any problem from any book or GATE paper, but attempted all lectures and all. So, Pooja, since you have attended all lectures, you would have a very good idea about the concepts that are there. Now is the time that you start solving questions. 15 days is a very good amount of time to solve these questions. You would be able to cover a lot of questions, and since GATE is about applying the concepts that you have learned, I would suggest that last 15 days you should focus only on solving questions. Watching videos is it consumes a lot of time. Since you have already went to attempted those GATE lectures and you would have the material with you, I guess the material and the question papers should be good enough for last 15 days. Jasmine, important topics in compiler. I don't remember. It's been 3 years, but I would say that I guess the last part, wherein which kind of compiler is this, was somewhat important at that point. So you just have around 2-3 marks of questions from compilers, and most of them are based on. To be honest, I do not remember what the important topics in compiler. My master's is not related to compilers, so I am not sure. But then the last year's question paper would give you a good idea about what topics are important. I have already told this which subjects you left completely or partially. I partially left computer networks because I am not too much comfortable with networks. But then that's my this thing. If you are good at networks, it's great to it's fun to learn. How is aerospace engineering in IIT Bombay? What about placements of aerospace engineering to masters in aerospace engineering? I don't have much idea about aerospace engineering. I just know that IIT Kanpur has a good program in aerospace engineer. Even IIT Bombay has a good program in aerospace engineering. I'm sorry, I don't have much idea about the placements and all, but most of these IIT Kanpur and IIT Bombay definitely has good aerospace engineering programs, that I know for sure. Praveen Kumar from Mechanical has this question: what is gate rank or gate score for different PSU companies? Again, since it's mechanical, I don't have much idea, but I guess Gate Forum has you have been provided with a link for a live question answering session. You can post this question over there, and you will get your answers from experts over there. Mechanical, I'm not very much sure. Can you please provide the detail of last year intake by IIT based on rank and marks? There are different number of seats in different IITs, and the rank varies year by year. So it's very hard to predict what's going to be the cutoff score and rank this year based on last year's this thing. So I would say just focus on your exam right now, and after you write the exam, you'll have time to think about the rank and marks. So for IIT Bombay, I can tell you that okay, a gate in rank in top 80 would definitely get you a seat in IIT Bombay. This has been the trend in the last 3-4 years at least. Is it about having more knowledge or information? Where should we go to see the topics which I have confusion? Okay, it's about depends on the subject that you need knowledge or information. Most of the questions are very conceptual. They do not test your mugging knowledge. How much can you learn? How much can you remember? They test how much can you apply those formulas or concepts that you know. So it's mostly about knowledge in the GATE paper. Uh, if you have confusion in some topics, just I would suggest just look at a standard reference material for that topic. Look at the formulas, how is the formula explained, the parameters that are used in the formula, the basic definition of the formulas, and then start solving paper, practice questions about that particular topic. This last 15 days you should just focus on practicing questions, a lot of questions I would say. Shrikant had a question, what kind of question should I expect from deep? This is already answered question for. Conceptual questions, the questions in GATE are mostly based on formulas. They test your understanding of the formula. It's very few questions are based on how much can you remember or not, but you just need to apply those formulas, and you can learn this application by solving as many questions as you can. So that would be it. Which IIT or ISC is best for chemical engineering? Again, I'm sorry, I do not have any idea about chemical engineering. So you can pose your question on the forum, and then you'll get your answer from experts. Should I concentrate more on solving GATE forum test or previous year question? I would say a mix of both. GATE forum tests already has a lot of questions based on previous year question papers. So a mix of both should be good enough. Probably a mix of both should be good enough. I see some notification for PhDs in NITs. Is there any issue in directly enrolling into PhD without doing GATE? I mean MTECH. No, there's no issue in directly enrolling for a PhD. If you are sure that you want to do a PhD from an NIT, it's a good thing. You can directly join. There's no issue in joining PhD without GATE. Yadav has a question. Anyone expect IIT rank if below 1000? Like I said, there are a lot of questions about what kind of rank do you need to get into IIT. So these are all very subjective questions, and they depend on what stream you are writing the exam from, what kind of paper this year, what would be the difficulty of paper this year. So it's very difficult to answer questions like what rank do you need to get into an IIT. These are very subjective, and last year trends do give you an idea, but then this is just an idea. This you can never be sure. Any tips like meditation, mental balance, physical don'ts and do's for the movement just before writing the exam? A good night's sleep before the exam is a must. A day before the exam, take a proper 8-9 hours sleep, wake up fresh, go to the exam center, do not think about the competition that's there, just focus on attempting your questions. That should be it, I guess. Just get a proper sleep a day before the exam. That is a must. And eat some light breakfast or lunch before you go for the exam, so that you do not feel sleepy. Do not overeat so that you don't feel sleepy during the exam. Just keep your mind fresh during the exam. Read the questions very carefully. Focus on solving the questions step by step. Do not skip any steps, and you'll be good. Sir, I am solving GATE forum test series, but there is great fluctuation in marks from test to test and confusing me the minimum marks. The fluctuation could be due to a lot of reasons. I mean, the difficulty of the papers keep changing, and I would say an average of instead of looking at the marks from test to set, if you look at the rank, I would say that would be a good idea to tell you that, okay, how do you stand in the overall competition. For example, in one exam, probably 65 marks can get you a rank of say 15 or 20. In another exam, the same 65 marks won't get you a rank in top 200 as well. So it depends on the difficulty of the paper as well. So if you think that your rank is constant in all these papers, you should be able to get a good idea about the marks that should be there. Chandraprakash has a question. What must be that 3-hour strategy during main exam? Which section to start, where to focus? This is a very person-specific question. Like I said, I was more comfortable with technical compared to verbal or quantitative questions. So I focused more on technical. You should focus on solving as many question papers as you can during the last 15 days, and then devise your own strategy. Every guy can have a different strategy to work with. Probably you could solve 10 questions from this section, 10 from another, back to the first section. It's your own strategy. So it's your, you'll have to devise your own strategy. What I did was, I was confident with technical, so I solved most of the technical questions first. What about level of math questions in stream? Because it's prepared by ISC Bangalore. ISC Bangalore preparing the question paper does not mean that the paper is going to be difficult. The level is going to be more or less similar, so don't worry. And the thing is that if it's difficult, it will be for everyone who is writing the paper. So do not worry at all about the difficulty level. Just focus on preparation, on doing your own preparation, and give your exam. Mayank Gupta has a question. I have tried the virtual calculator and it seems a little difficult. What should be done? It's difficult, I know, but then with the practice, you'll be able to get a hang on it. And not many questions are based on the actual calculation that you need to do on a calculator. Probably a couple of calculations each question. Most of the calculation is based on the formulas, and things cancel out very easily, and very few things need to be done on the calculator. So do not worry a lot about the calculator. It's easy to use, and probably a more practice on this should be. We are going to use scientific calculator. This will be difficult for us to solve the question. I'm from civil. For which subject I have to concentrate more? Again, I have no idea about subjects from civil. You can ask a question on the forum itself, live chat session, and that will be answered. My CGPA is very less. I'm from SC category. Can I get admission in NIT? Yeah, I guess most of the IITs do have a cutoff, but the cutoff is relaxed a lot for this thing. You should be, if you write your GATE exam, just focus on writing your GATE exam very properly. Try to score as much as possible. You would definitely get an admission into an NIT. Pratik has a question, how much accurate should be the answer in case of numerical questions? I've answered this earlier as well. This accuracy depends, it might change this year. It changes, it could be 2, 3 or 4 decimal digits. So the instruction section at the beginning of the paper has this information, that what is the expected accuracy of the numerical question, and that should answer your question. Just read the instructions carefully before you attempt the paper, and you'll get your answer there. How to save time to attempt questions which we have no idea about at first glance? I would say do not attempt that question at all. First, if you have no idea, if after reading the question you have no idea about what should be done about the question, no need to look at the question at that particular point of time. Just mark that question for review, move on to the next question, and then you can attempt. Afterwards, when you have time, you can look at the question in peace and then check what can be done. How much marks we need to get into PSU? Which PSU, which stream, it matters a lot. So I won't be able to give you specific numbers, but just look at last year's trend and you'll get a good idea about how many marks you actually need. Again, the same question, how many marks are required to get 90 percentile? The numbers change every year. It's very difficult to predict what is going to be the magic number this year. So just look at last year's trend and you'll get a basic idea about an approximate number of marks that you need to score to get into 90 percentile. Sir, I am getting an average rank of 55 in SATs. Is it better rank for the hard preparation of 6 months? 55 is not an average rank at all. It's a good rank, I would say. So if you're getting a rank of 55, it's great. And I do not worry much about, like I said, do not look at the competition around you. Just focus on your own preparation and you would do great in the actual examination. Just try on achieving, just try on getting the maximum out of what you already know. Do not look around. Some people might be good at that particular subject, and this might not give you a good picture about the actual scenario. So just focus on your own preparation and you do fine. This time physical calculators are not allowed, so can we expect questions with less complicated calculations? Even during our case, physical calculators were not allowed. We had to use virtual calculators, and the calculations were easy enough. So it's they could be easily done on a virtual calculator. So do not worry much about that. Just do a little bit practice of using the virtual calculator, clicking the mouse and all. You should be fine. What is cutoff for IT and NIT? No idea about a specific cutoff. Last year trend should give you a good idea about this. Generally, IIT admissions start before the announcement of final semester result. What will happen if I have less than 6.5 aggregate till 7th semester? Will they wait till I have final result or I will be rejected? Most of the time, the offer letter that you get from an IIT is based on is probationary based on your final year result. So if you do not make the cutoff for this admission, your admission might be rejected. Yes, that's the case. After IT, which college will be good? All NITs for, I guess you're asking about MTECs only. Apart from IITs, the NITs are a good college to get your MTech from. And there are a lot of private colleges as well. IIIT Hyderabad is a good college to do MTech from. So you'll have to look into just the best thing. If you want to know about a college, how the college is, just talk to some of the seniors. Some of your seniors who are already in that college, or some of the students who are studying in that college. That should give a good idea about how the college is. I have left the 12th SAT just to solve regularly before my exam, which is on 30th. Is this right or wrong? It might be right or wrong, doesn't matter now. Just since you have 15 days exam left, since you are left with 15 days for the exam, just try solving these SATs, and along with these SATs, if you are able to solve some last year's question paper as well, that would be great. Do not worry a lot about what you have done till now. So it's done. Shubhanand Tiwari, there is demotivation many a time during preparation. How to avoid it? Probably most of the demotivation that I got during my preparation was due to the fatigue that I had due to continuous hours of preparation. Listening to some good music, taking a walk around house, it should be a good idea. Just do not take little breaks after every 3 or 4 hours, 15-20 minutes, half an hour break, to freshen up your mind, and then again sit back on study. Do not think a lot about the competition. It's not difficult to crack that. So motivation is an easy thing to get. If your mind is fresh, you won't get demotivated. Sayantan Ghosh is getting 50-60 in the SATs good enough for doing good in GATE. May or may not be. I would say that do not think a lot about how many marks you are going to get in the GATE exam. Just focus on preparation, solve as many questions as you can, as I've been saying from the start, and you should do good in GATE. Arnab Maiti, how much marks should I get in GATE forum test series like in SAT or in monitor test? See, a lot of people have been asking this question: how many marks in GATE or GATE exam should be good enough? I would say I used to get around 55 to 65 marks in GATE exam, and but I didn't lose hope. I focused on solving a lot of questions. I just kept on solving questions, that's it. And in the actual exam, I got 81. So it is good that you're getting these many marks in the GATE forum test. The GATE forum tests are a little bit difficult compared to the actual GATE exam, in my opinion. And if you're doing good in these SATs and monitor tests, you should be able to do good in GATE as well. I know Sayantan Bala has a question about: I have mostly focused on solving the last 15 years questions of GATE exam. Should I be able to carry good marks? Oh yeah, 15 years of GATE exam, if you have if you have actually solved those 15 years of questions with the concepts that you have learned, and you have scored good in those exams, you should be you'll definitely get good marks in the actual GATE exam as well. Giri has a question: is this the correct time for practicing mock tests? Yeah, this is the correct time for practicing mock tests. Last 15 days should be about should be about a lot of practice. No theory reading would help you at this point of time. GATE exam is actually about applying the concepts that you have learned, and this 15 days of practice would take you a long way towards achieving that goal. There are different sets of same stream paper. Are these sets entirely different from each other or similar? They might be similar, they might be entirely different. Yeah, the difficulty level does vary in these sets, but then these marks are normalized based on the average score that you get in this particular set. So do not worry much about the session that you are getting. These marks are normalized and uh, easily. I'm not getting confidence in the subjects I prepared. What should be strategy? Just continue to practice or move on and get something now and start revise the old before 10 days of exam. I would say do not read anything new at this particular point of time. Just read the formulas again and then practice a lot. Because practicing the question would give you a lot of confidence in the subjects. If you are able to practice that properly and able to get the answers in an easy time, you will be able to get a lot of answers easily. And that will definitely increase your confidence as well. If you know that you are able to solve those questions, you will be able to get those answers. So let's okay. Another question from Sahil. Yes. Another question from Sahil. Everyone is not true at all. Like I said, questions are collected from every IIT and they select questions amongst these. So research-based question in a GATE paper is going to be very difficult. You just have 3 hours to solve that paper, and no one is going to test you on your ability to mug things or come up with new ideas at that particular moment. So the paper is going to be like it's been in the last 10-15 years. Do not worry a lot about ISC Bangalore setting the paper. If anyone is having a gap of 2 or 3 years after BTECH, then will it affect the chances of getting selected in IITs? Not at all. I myself worked for 2 years after my BTECH in 2012, and I did not have any issues while getting into an IIT. So that is not an issue at all. Oh, any more chats? Which topic is most important in data structures and algorithm is another question. My gate for marks very less. How to increase marks? Rakesh has a question. Most important topics in data structures and algorithm. Data structures and algorithms are 2 subjects wherein there are no important topics as such. Data structures, you could probably just look about the basic data structures starting from stacks to up to tree. And you should know the definitions of these data structures very properly and the operations that can be performed on these data structures. Algorithm, try practicing dynamic programming a little bit and dynamic programming and greedy algorithms a little bit, and that should be it for gate forum. My gate forum marks are very less. How to increase marks? See, Rakesh, once you solve the gate forum question paper, you'll have a analysis of what kind of marks you are getting in what kind of topics. So suppose your marks are less in say theory of computation or operating systems, I would say focus on solving more questions from that particular topic for the next couple of days, and this should increase your marks, definitely increase your marks, overall marks. Vijay Bhargav, sir, my exam center is 50 km away from my home. I am afraid if I would be tired reaching the center, how can I overcome it? You can take help from your friends over here. Even my center was around 30 kilometers away from my home. I requested a friend to drop me to the center, and I just sat around the back of his vehicle. So it should not be a difficult thing. I would say just leave early from home so that you leave the center at least a couple of hours, in your case at least. So that you get time to sit back and relax for some time, take rest for 15-20 minutes at the center itself, and you should be good to go. It's not a big deal. What I need to do, polish my general aptitude concepts on the last 15 days to crack down the gate ones. Will the gate forum provided books of aptitude will be helpful? Yes, the book will be very helpful. If for the last 15 days you are able to solve these questions for 2 hours daily, if you are able to practice for 2 hours daily in the last 15 days, you'll be easily able to solve the aptitude questions that are asked in the actual GATE exam. Is it necessary to keep giving tests for the next 15 days or just to solve the last year's questions only? Solving last year's questions is similar to getting tests. You can probably give one test per day, analyze that test, how many marks you have got in that test, which subjects do you need to focus more on. So say I gave a test now, after 3 hours I'll know, okay, I need to focus more on operating systems probably. And then after this, you can take questions from operating system, solve those questions, and then give another test next day. Your marks in operating system should increase next day, and others should remain constant. So this will increase your overall marks in the actual paper. Can you please provide the details of last year intake by IIT based on rank and marks? I can tell you something about IIT Bombay. IIT Bombay actually has the highest number of MTECH intake every year. It has about 100 students, and for general category, the last rank was somewhat between 88 and somewhat around 90. So this is about IIT Bombay. I'm not sure about other IITs as well. Vijay has a session. Should I be prepared biologically to get acquainted with afternoon session? Yeah, that's a good question, Vijay. I'd say if you have an afternoon session and you have a habit of sleeping in the afternoon, next 15 days you could try solving your test during that particular time, so that your body is acquainted for solving the paper, for sitting for 3 hours and focusing for during that time. It's a good idea. Yeah. If your paper is in the morning, just get up early in the morning, get fresh, and sit with a fresh mind to solve the paper during those 3 hours for the as the actual session is. So you'll actually set your biological clock in that way as well. Okay, so I guess this would be it from my side. Wish you all the best for your GATE exam this year. Hope to see a lot of you guys at IITs and NITs this year. All the best for your GATE exam.